Well, hello. Hey, good to see you. Good to be here. Today, we're going to talk once more about body consciousness. Um, Today, we have Uga with us. She's one of the kitties. She may wander in and around. You might see her in around. So anyway, just so you know who we're pairing up with today. Body consciousness. So before we really go anywhere, first come to the breath. As in all my videos, this is a meditation. However you listen to this, just follow your breath and let the message or whatever comes across for you be a meditation. And the breath is what helps it to be so. So the breath is in and out only through the nose. So mouth is closed, gap between the teeth, and your tongue is at the roof of your mouth. Additionally, we're going to exhale longer than we inhale. And another little point that I'm adding today, and I have added this in the past, but we're going to begin to bring this in more consistently, is whatever you normally breathe, try to turn it back down by about 10%. So you're breathing 10% less in, but then exhale longer. You're not exhaling more, you're exhaling longer by 10 to 15% more than your inhale. All of this is to bring consciousness inside. It resets your sympathetic parasympathetic balance. It brings you more into a safety and wellness and well-being perspective, and it moves your thinkingness from the reactive amygdala to the responsive and observational hippocampus and prefrontal. This may be tricky for most people because we spend most of our time in the amygdala and in that place of dopamine. So much of our information comes not because it's useful to us, but because it triggers that addictive flow of dopamine. While you're listening to this, you're going to be activating the centers that produce the peaceful chemicals, your serotonins, your endorphins, your melatonins. And so it's not going to be that big hit like you get from dopamine. And it may take a while before you're able to sit with it. Initially, it might feel boring because it's not that rush that you get with the dopamine, but you're also not getting the adrenaline or the cortisol. So while you're doing this basic breath that we just outlined, while you're listening in this meditative state of being conscious of your breath, you're also coming deeper into a peaceful state. And so you're in a place where you can begin to flush the adrenaline, cortisol, and dopamine from your system. So just stick with it. So I mentioned that we're going to be talking about body consciousness. So over many of my videos, I've mentioned kind of that 4-to-1 principle or the 80-20 rule. That is that for every 4 signals that the body presents, there's only 1 from the brain. And when we listen only to the brain, what we're getting is only 20% of the information that our environment is presenting to us. And our environment isn't just in the physical. You know, when what I see, what most meditators feel is a much deeper, broader presence. And that broader presence is the multidimensionality of what true existence is. When you're in the brain only, you're only acknowledging this one physical area, this dimension within the 3 dimensions that we are aware of, whereas there's multiple other dimensions that we exist in. We can't help but exist in so many dimensions because those other dimensions support this piece that is physical. And if we were going to go into actual numbers, quantum physics shows us that of everything, 99% is energy. Or no, actually 99% is nothing. Of that 99%, only 5% is energy, and of all of it, less than 1% is actual physical matter. So think of this body as that less than 1%. This body and this mind combined is that that generously 10% or 20% that I mentioned earlier. So we're relying very much on only physical cues for an experience that is happening throughout a multitude of dimensions. And these other dimensions are where so much of this physical endpoint exists. And it really is. The physical is the endpoint. So you're only, when you're in the brain operating only on that 20%, you're only just looking at the endpoint. I know so many of you probably are aware of the different principles of deliberate creation and deliberate manifestation. But are you practicing listening to the whole of you? And that's a very subtle practice. And it is a practice because it takes practice. So anyway, meditation is kind of that stepping up point where you are able to begin to listen to the body. Now, I give you the basic breath. Now, what's fascinating about breathing in and out only through the nose is that it specifically triggers only diaphragmatic breathing. When you're breathing through the diaphragm, you're additionally stimulating the parasympathetic. As the parasympathetic becomes more stimulated, you bring balance to that sympathetic parasympathetic imbalance that our culture has created. So it's critical that we do simple breathing exercises continuously so that we can begin to operate as who we really are, which is multidimensional beings. So the body of the language, it's held within the cells, and I like to think of the cells as memory. You think of what people say to you, especially the older folks, they say, oh, you have your grandmother's eyes. How can you have your grandmother's eyes? There's cellular memory there. So there's something in your eyes that harkens back generations. And it's recognizable by other people who have maybe a deeper connection with their multidimensional perspectives. So you really don't have, say, your grandmother's eyes, and maybe they're not even identical, but there is something there. There's that cellular DNA that is passed down. Now, that DNA, that cellular memory, isn't just generations, it's epochs. It goes back to the root of humanity. It goes back to the Earth herself, and then from the Earth to the solar system to the galaxy, and on and on and on. Now, we don't need to go so far back because we're really the eyes and the ears, maybe just for the planet and for now. But it is so much more helpful for us when we can use all of our perceptions. That 4-to-1, we can use all of what the body is presenting as well as what the mind or the brain is telling us. So when you go into meditation, you go into the self and you begin to learn the language of your body, of your cells, of your cellular memory. So just breathing, coming into the diaphragm, you're coming into the solar plexus. I like the solar plexus because it is your affirmation there. I got another one. The solar plexus is your battery. It's your energy center for the body. And so I start with the solar plexus. If you need to move up to the heart, great. But the solar plexus kind of gives you that initial power of recognition. Just feeling the diaphragm as it moves up and down. It's a very powerful space, watching the diaphragm, because it's the place that brings in and moves through the prana, the breath, or that non-physical component of you that goes far beyond and connects with all that is. And when I say that it connects with all that is, imagine this: the breath you breathe, just by the law of conservation, every atom of air has always been here. It's not gone away. So within your life, every 7 years or something like that, you are breathing the same molecules that the Buddha breathed, the same molecules that Jesus breathed, that every piece of the planet has consumed and then released. So that comes and goes continually. So be with that. Watch it. Feel it. That's what I'm talking about, moving past just thinking with the head. Come into meditation, invite the body in to join you in synthesizing who you are, how you fit within your environment. Right now is an amazing time to be on this planet because so much is happening. Now, if you're stuck in just, for example, just watching the news cycle, you're in the head. You're just in the brain, and you're actually probably in the amygdala, and you're probably producing fear, cortisol, adrenaline, and dopamine, which is that addictive cycle, which means that I got to keep watching. I got to stay informed. If somebody doesn't watch what these rascals are up to, they're going to get away with more and more and more. And I have to say that is a logic that is perhaps becoming arcane. It's a logic that has kept us limited. When you allow yourself to expand outside of your mind's consumption, and you become more aware of the body. And simply doing this basic breath 3 to 5 times a day will help you to do this. You'll notice that as you do the basic breath, you're moving your awareness into the frontal part of your brain rather than the reactive part. You're going to be more in observation. And when you're in observation, then you can make intelligent movements forward rather than reactive movements that probably keep you stuck or maybe move you back. So this is what is important about meditation, is it moves you, anchors you deeper into the more contemplative portions of your brain, the observational portions of who you are. And when you're in the observation portions, you discover that you don't always need to take action. Okay, and you also discover that many times there is action in non-action, because not reacting sometimes takes far more control than reacting. So non-action is action. Be aware of that. Holding your silence is a power rather than spewing back a reactive thought. You're just contributing to the energy of whatever is happening. So pull back, take the breaths. Now, importantly, practice conscious breathing when you're in neutral or positive situations. Practice conscious breathing far more often in positive situations, so that when you do get in a place where immediate action or confrontation is occurring, when you take those deep breaths, you're bringing all of the conditioning with you of it's okay. So you're bringing that deep groundedness of the meditations with you into the situation where maybe crisis is occurring. And then what happens is crisis is often quelled or averted because you're bringing in a frequency, a vibration that's far deeper, far stronger, more rooted in truth. It's part of the 80% rather than the 20%. And so that vibration grounds the reactive, fear-based vibration, confrontation, whatever it is. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. I hope it's helpful. Please like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Use this as a meditation. Meditate on these things. And boy, I look forward to chatting with you next time. Everyone, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And bye-bye.